I have a question for you. How bad do you want it? Are you willing to train for hours, days, years for minimal results? To run in the rain, through the snow, and push yourself past the point of exhaustion? All for the slightest competitive edge? This is obsession. And it's not about pride or ego. It's about doing whatever it takes to win. It's about throwing every excuse out the window and choosing to chase victory no matter the cost. And this is exactly what Kimura decided to do in his fight against Mashiba, the Grim Reaper. For 5 long years, Kimura prepared for this day, a chance at the belt. But it all came down to one question. Would his obsession be enough to carry him through? Kimura is a fighter who's often overshadowed by others. In the Kamigawa gym, there's Ippo, the rising star with endless potential. And then there's Takamura, the untouchable champion with raw natural talent. But Kimura, he's different. He doesn't have the same natural gifts. He's scrappy, stubborn, and fiercely independent. The kind of guy who would rather struggle alone than ask for help. But that independence comes at a price. Over the years, Kimura's career has been filled with ups and downs. He's a solid fighter, good enough to hold his own, but rarely the one to stand out. And as he watches his friends become champions, he starts to wonder, does he really have what it takes to truly win? To hold a title and prove he belongs? This fight wasn't just about winning a belt, it was about survival. His opponent, the Grim Reaper, had already retired 6 boxers. And now, Kimura had a chance to face him, knowing full well the odds weren't in his favor. For Kimura, it wasn't just a fight, it was the endgame. Win or retire. But his opponent was a boxer feared for his devastating flicker jabs, long-range punches that seemed impossible to dodge. He was cold, calculating, and relentless. 6 fighters who had dreams just like Kimura, crushed by a man who treats boxing like a hunt. To him, his opponents weren't rivals, they were his prey. Kimura knew he was outmatched, but that didn't matter. The only thing that did was winning. Kimura is the last person you expect to ask for help. He's proud, stubborn, and the type of guy who believes he should be able to figure things out on his own. But obsession has a way of changing you. So he set aside his pride and turned to Miyata, one of the most skilled fighters he knew. But more importantly, Miyata was outside the Kamigawa gym. Asking him for help was a big deal, because it wasn't just about learning a new technique. It was about admitting he couldn't do this on his own. This moment showed that Kimura's obsession with victory outweighed his pride. He was willing to break his own rules, to go beyond his comfort zone, for the chance to win. And that's exactly what obsession is. Obsession doesn't have any rules. Obsession only sees one thing, and that is the goal. Complete the mission. That's all that matters. Winning by any means necessary. At times, we experience this. We get obsessed with a girl. We get obsessed with that video game. But rarely do we channel that obsession into our dreams and goals. But Kimura does. In his training with Miyata, he quickly realizes that dodging Mashiba's flicker jabs won't be enough. He needs more than defense. He needs a weapon of his own. So he invented his own technique, the pufferfish blow. The pufferfish blow was a move Kimura designed to strike fear into his opponent. It was raw power honed through hours of grueling practice. Every punch, every moment was aimed at creating a technique that could turn the tide of the fight. Kimura's training was about pushing past failure, through frustration, and finding strength in the obsession to win. Because obsession isn't just about talent or hard work. It's about refusing to stop no matter how hard it gets. And as the fight begins, Mashiba's flicker jabs start to dominate the ring. Kimura struggles to close the distance, taking hit after hit. But he doesn't quit. Every time Mashiba lands a punch, Kimura pushes forward. He knows that one moment, one opening could be enough to change everything. And then it happens. Kimura lands the pufferfish blow. And for the first time, Mashiba's off balance. He's leaning a little bit. The crowd erupts. For a moment, it feels like Kimura might actually pull this off. But the Grim Reaper doesn't go down easily. He counters, and Kimura finds himself on the verge of a knockout. His coach grabs a towel, ready to throw it in. But Kimura gets up. He stares Mashima down, battered and bruised, and refuses to back down. Because that is what obsession does. It keeps you going when every part of your body is telling you to stop. It makes you stand up again and again until there's nothing less to give. Kimura didn't win that fight, but that doesn't matter. What matters is what he showed in the ring. The power of obsession. Remember, Kimura was a slightly above average boxer who was constantly overshadowed by his peers. He had no business being in the position he was. But the obsession, the fuel that drives you to go beyond what you thought was possible, took over and had him giving the champ a run for his money. Because it's like Coach Kamigawa says, not everyone who works hard is rewarded. However, all those who have succeeded have worked hard. This is the mindset you need to tackle anything in life. Because the truth is, you're going to face challenges that feel insurmountable. You're going to meet people who are stronger, faster, and better than you. In those moments, the only thing that will matter is how bad you want it. So I ask you again, how bad do you want it? Are you willing to do whatever it takes? Because if you are, the possibilities are endless.